actually gives me a good platform to start talking about what our Bravo group does. Many of you already know, but I would like to express this to the people out here that doesn't know. We would like to create more synergy and common effort together with our local district here. Thank you, Darren, for being here. Let me tell you a little bit about our Bravo does, our Bravo group does, and not only what we do, but how we do it. Because one of the reasons all these gentlemen are here is the way we do things, and not just what we do. So our Bravo group, it's a company that today is a California company, but we were born in Argentina. All the group and cars you see there as developments we've done in these years in the car business. That first car over there is the reason of our existence. And I would like to tell you a little bit about that because it's important so you understand how we act and how we develop stuff. So Miguel was at his holidays in the beach, and his son was in a four-wheeler. He was so afraid of getting hurt that he decided to create a recreative car with a high security jail for what he was a winner of an innovation prize. So that's how the Natch 1 was created. But our group is always integrating solutions and watching out what the future of things might be. So rapidly we understood that making fancy sport cars wasn't maybe the best option for the group because of the talent we were able to put together. So we started developing ourselves as a sustainable transportation company. We developed efficient ways of moving people, goods, and data. That's exactly what we do. And you think, whoa, this is huge. And yeah, you're right, it's huge. And that's why we all need to work together in order to get there. Well, all the people that you saw there in the other picture, and people from all those countries you're seeing in red out there, crowdfunded our company in the first stage. So we received 650 different investors in a crowdfunded way. And we raised about $7 million in order to do all these developments you're going to see. So this puts us in a situation, after we did that, guess what? The financial world reacted and SEC forbid to raise more than $1 million in crowdfunding. So what we did would be impossible to be done today. But it makes sense to explain to you that we are in the sharing economy. Our belief is that sharing not only profits, as everybody's looking for, but sharing the solutions or the build up of new solutions is a way of doing this revolution that we need, especially for Central Valley. And because we have water problems, but we have energy problems, and we have transportation problems. And all these problems really affect more the people that have less money. And we want to create a more fair society and create wealth. And in this environment, we will need to be smart and work in a very united way so we can get to these final solutions. So this is how we grew. So just for you to have a little understanding, in the car making industry, developing a platform for a vehicle generally takes between 5 to 7 years, about $160 million. Because of the way we develop things, we were able to grow all these developments with the capital I just told you in only 5 to 6 years. So it's more, right? It's about 8 right now. Sometimes I forget that time passed. This is a very important moment for us. If you have a look, there's a guy over there that stand up. That's me. I'm looking to the projector that was making a mapping on that white vehicle, which is our Rodon development, driverless car for car sharing. And this is in the Electric Vehicle Symposium 26 in Los Angeles in 2012. This is a moment in which we brought from our country and all of our developments, all of our beliefs, and we expressed this in the US to people from all around the world, and we realized that this new world that was coming about creating new ways of moving people, goods, and data, about the new ways of generating energy, managing and using it, all this world that is all united together, as well as how we treat water, reuse it, and manage it. So all this world that looks so different, if you don't pay attention, they are only one. It's about energy. I mean, moving is about energy. Living is about energy. Because if you don't eat, you'll die. So food is energy. This moment was the moment in which we understood we needed to be a US company. The story followed. We needed to be a California company. So after this, we got in touch in Washington, D.C. with the Department of Commerce. We were with the Select USA program. At the time, we had the meeting with the director of the Select USA program, and he, after a not that long meeting, he told us, we really want you to be here. Where do you want to be? I asked him, oh, where? Yeah, we stay. And I didn't doubt it. I told him California. So by the time I got to my hotel out from the Department of Commerce in DC, I already had an email from Select USA linked to the governor's office of Business and Economic Development down there, Go Beast, down there in Sacramento. And after answering, a couple of hours later, I was already on the phone with them, and would lead us to have meetings here and actually creating our operations in the US. So I told you this because maybe that action they took that looks like nothing, for us was everything. And that's maybe the philosophy we need to adopt here. We need to give things that looks like nothing, but for entrepreneurs and new startups are everything. I mean, we can give them just calling somebody to open the door and listen to them. I mean, it looks like nothing, but for them it's everything today. So that's why I'm telling you this story. I think it's very important about what we're trying to do. So this is a very important thing. I just told you we are looking forward to change the way we move. And changing the way we move is in many senses, and in all countries in the world, the difference between poor and not being poor. So if you are able to transport, you are able to get a better job, or you're able to go to school. But if you don't have transportation, then that is getting much difficult, and you might not do it. So being able to offer to our society a smarter way of moving, which it means a lower cost per mile, that means that we will improve our society. And I believe everybody in this room today has that as a mission. So that's why it's so important that you understand what we do and what all this spend money here today. So. The other thing that's important is, you know what? There's not many companies being successful in our industry in the last years. So Tesla was the only one to be successful in the last 9 years. And that means that we're good, because many of you told me that, well, because, and I believe that also. But we will need all of your help. We will need the help of everybody to be successful. So this is another part of our philosophy. I told you about the sharing, not only sharing our services to the society, but sharing how to solve things, and sharing the opportunities, as we are doing right now. It's about integrating value chains. What we saw when we started talking about electric vehicles was that the value chain was broken, and it was broken. That made that so hard to be successful in this field. So that's the reason we started talking with mining companies, so they mine more lithium, so we can have more batteries. And then we started working on the what is our core, which is the design and engineering, and advancing on taking lithium to be in batteries, to be in vehicles that move people. And now we are uniting the efforts of the miners, contributing with moving people in an efficient way, and take them out of poverty. I mean, looks crazy, but when you have time, and we don't have that today, I will be glad to explain all this to any person that is interested, and we can talk for hours about this stuff. This is, and it's for you, everybody to understand. This is our main objective, to be here in the first stage. So this is our car. This is a car that was designed to be the moving robot to move people in efficient ways. So this is a driverless vehicle for the ride-sharing industry. This means we will use less vehicles with less weight, with less energy consumption to move the same amount of people in an urban environment. And this is not something we say. This is something that's already proven. The International Transport Forum made a study that demonstrates that fleets of vehicles like this, and this is funny because they describe a vehicle that should be done to achieve this objective, and they describe this vehicle. And it was like, that study is part of my business plan. I put like a link. You need to read this because it's an international association of 65 different countries that paid for a study that says that the car needs to be a heavy-duty used car that can be in the streets more than 550, 600 miles per day without braking in 2 years. That happens right now. That needs to be easy to be cleaned. That needs to be as lightest as possible, and that has to have the ability of driving, to have a driverless technology, and also connect to other vehicles. So you're looking now at a car that does all that. And some people look at it and say, okay, so you compete with Google? We don't. What we did is a platform to install the most efficient driverless software. So this vehicle has LiDARs, has sensors, has supercomputers, antennas, efficient batteries, and efficient motors, and a composite structure that brings the weight down in 35%. So we are achieving all of these objectives that the International Transport Forum was telling the car needed to have. But we designed this before. We designed this in 2011. So this platform can has, let's say that we have a fleet of this being used under Uber's platform. So now Uber has a customer that needs to move and delivers an order to one of these vehicles to go and get the customer and take him from point A to point B. Obviously, you will tell me, today we don't have regulations for that. I know, but it's going to come. I mean, we didn't have our regulations for driverless vehicle, now we have. And we need a driver behind the wheel right now, but suddenly when driverless are able to show everybody that a computer has much more information and much more processing capacity than any one of us to take good decisions, and that it will take all decisions under legislation, not as we do. So they are much safer than we are, and that will come with experience. Experience of using them will make them find a path to conquer their space. And this is about creating infrastructure in a smart way, because each one of those has an LED screen that sells advertising and is autonomous in terms of economy. So you are able to expand dramatically charging infrastructure into infrastructure for charging, but creating economical viability in a more lateral vision way. So this is what's going on, right? We're talking about cars that are reading information not for them, but for all the cars in the system. So now you have a system that knows almost in real time, in 3D, what's going on in the city and takes decisions much better than we do. And how are we able to do that? Because we integrate a good bunch of technology, very important technology, about antennas interconnecting vehicles, super computers. We use in this small car the same computer the Airbus 380 uses. Let's make a comparison in size. I mean, it's really the big difference. The Airbus 380 is the biggest airplane in the world. So we have enough processing capacity here to take good decisions in a fast way with all the information that the network is providing to us. And when you see all this lines in it down, we are talking about induction charging. So one of the problems about charging infrastructure is that you can't put conventional chargers in public areas because they are vandalized. I mean, they have their wires, their copper wires stolen, and this is a big problem for maintenance and for the cost of the system. So there's already induction charging. So you are able to actually charge the car without plugging in, just being on top of an induction line. Go. This is our link. How is so important to be here in Castle Forest? First of all, because we have the UC environment here that is supporting us tremendously, but we have a strong support also from LativeNet in NASA environment. So we are linked to Silicon Valley in a very strong way. Now we are telling people, when we are taking to Silicon Valley, and one of the reasons all these people is here, we have in Castle a facility that can give you guys a good location for industrial activities and research and common research and integration in a place that is not as expensive as Silicon Valley is. We are only 2 hours from there, and we are only 2 hours from San Francisco, and just a couple of hours from Sacramento, and 4 hours from LA. So Castle is a very good location, and with the help of Mark and all his training, I needed to learn all of this. I was able to convince all these people here. So this is we are going more deeper into what the system is. So imagine that you simply are in San Francisco, and you simply don't have a car to park. So you simply don't have to, worry about finding a parking spot and about the money you're going to pay for it. So the only thing you do is you push up your cell phone, you call a car, and the closest car to you will go and fetch you. And it's going to take you from point A to point B, and after leaving you, it's going to go and fetch the following customer. And that's why the system is so efficient, because you don't have the need to walk from your location to the closest car. The car is coming to you. Just get back over there. This is importance also about being in Castle. We're talking about integration of vehicles circulating in land, air, and space under a same protocol, under the same type of communication and computers. So we're talking about having communication of the cars with satellites and with the charging stations to create a new network of moving robots. This is a need. This is not just something that we invented because we are just crazy people. We are just crazy people, but it's a need. It's a need, and it's something that is already working. I mean, it's not something that I'm telling you, okay, this needs to be created. No, wait. There are other companies that are part of our group. They are stopped because of flight problems. But yesterday, Tony Sutter was here explaining us about the antennas and about the open space network, and about what they are doing to connect the Internet of Things and connect moving drones. So this is just our hunger is straight aside that balloon. I found that picture. I found it really interesting because well, Google is here, you know, and I think that as a community we should try to attract their attention so they can interact more fluently with us. Go. This is about the structure of vehicles. How it's so important to have a lightweight structure without needing of plugging in, and how clean the use of space is. So you are able, in this type of electric vehicles, you are able to create environment because you're too clean. You don't have all the problems that internal combustion motor has about space. So motors are in the X, batteries are in the technical flooring. So you just have wheels, what it looks like a chassis, and then the rest of the space is free for you to use. Go. An important point. 370 companies attracted 3.15 billion funding in our industry of interconnected cars in the last years. So the challenge would be how we, with the CESS, the county, all of us plus the university, are able to create new companies in this field that can attract part of this money that is all around. Go. This is our friend, the moving robot, helping our lifeguard. So imagine now that you have a drone over there that can throw, you can throw a rope and you can bring somebody in much faster than a lifeguard would be doing, and without risking his life. So he's just there to make these first aid procedures, but the process of taking people out is done in an autonomous way by autonomous vehicles. So this is how we have been developing in order to be efficient. In the 80s was created a concept about using several types of transportation in an integrated way in international business to reduce cost. And that means that there was some parameters that you use, like from 0 to 400 kilometers you use a truck, from if you're going further you use a train, and if you're going much further and you have a water course you use a boat or you use a ship. So this is about, in order to be efficient, we need to start with little vehicles going to bigger vehicles, and then to bigger vehicles to little vehicles from our starting point to our end point. And this is about developing different vehicles with all these technologies, sharing all these technologies, about reducing weight, being more efficient, interconnection, and being able to be driverless, so we can move really people in an efficient way. This is the development we did at the time, and having conversation with a veteran organization. We know that our veterans have serious problems of disabilities because of the injuries, and we were so touched by our meetings with a veteran organization in San Diego at the time that we thought we needed to create something that might be helpful for them. And this was the Exoway, that now it's becoming a moving robot because we're creating the half that is not there yet. Let's go. This is another development that's going to be in the pipeline. After we start with Orodon, it's the following vehicle that is about carpooling and connecting cities in larger distances. And this is an old, it's an old slide. Sidecar already broke, but General Motors bought it just to have the technology. And Lyft received 500 million from General Motors, and Uber has a valuation of 17 billion. So this is the opportunity we are talking about. We are talking about a huge business and creating opportunities here in Merced to attract part of these developments to Merced. This is one of the technologies we created with our vehicles. This is a fleet of vehicles that can perfectly be serving other platforms or our platform itself. So we can actually link these fleets of these vehicles to an Uber service or to get around another company that came out from NASA or any other of those ride-sharing industries. Or we can, if there's no operations from them in some places, we can put these systems to be serving local population. So this is about businesses. In the last the bus. The bus was one of the developments we weren't going to do, but the reality brought us of the need to do. So buses are today in the pipeline of $305 billion that the Congress has state and the President has signed. So there's $305 billion to be invested in the following years about transformation of surface transportation in the US into cleaner solutions. The first approach, without any cultural change to an electric vehicle in public transportation, is a bus. So buses will be benefit with all these efforts after COP21, specifically in whole America, North and South, Latin America. Especially in Latin America, where the bus has a bigger cultural impact than in the US. So this is a creation we had like in standby, and we needed to go. Remember, we made a bus once, and so we needed to take that out and bring it up. This is about bringing this body. It's a bus created with one of our partners that we are bringing into Castle to operate together with us. That works about making composite structures. And this is how a composite bus is done. Only two molds, down mold, up mold, put together, and you have a bus ready to put powertrains for Richard and batteries, and driverless technology from Space AI, all of our integration and experience on moving the vehicle, and some other systems like the interaction with software, with solar charging. So there's a lot of integration here related to this.